Welcome to the Wexford Football League Show.
Welcome to the Wexford Football League. Tonight I'm joined by Padraig Whitty. Aidan Brown is out gallivanting, and we're here tonight to try and get the show on the road. I must apologise to a few people. We haven't been around for the last few weeks because other things going on and bits and pieces with busy private lives. So it's been a tough time. But drag Padraig away from a nativity play in the school here this evening to come on.
Yep, thanks for having me, Nicky. Good to have it back on the road.
Yeah, definitely good. Well, there's been a lot going on over the last couple of weeks. Massive amount of talk between calendar year football, and there's been inter-county youths, inter-county Oscar trainers and things like that. So I suppose we better start with the calendar year football. We just have it was voted in last week by the Assembly.
Yeah, close enough vote. I think it was 56% again to 44. So the FAI are looking to roll it out over the next years. Very close vote. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes. I think it's coming in with schoolboys first in 2026, and the plan, I think the outline plan is to bring it in to say adult football in 2028. So look, we'll watch this space over the next couple of years, see how it's going, see how it gets up and running, what's going on, I suppose. What's your thoughts on it?
To be honest with you, I probably at the start I was completely against it, but I've kind of sat down and I spoke to a few lads and have my own thoughts on it. You'll never win a league in September, but you could lose a league in September. If you get off to a bad start in a league because you're missing GA lads and things like that, you could lose the league. If you were to start your season maybe in February or a March, you could be starting with a full strength squad. You could be in it.
Yeah.
And for me, I think if you're like, I suppose selfish is probably the wrong word, but a lot of young lads and players, no matter what code they're playing, whether it's hurling, football, soccer, rugby, they will be quite conscious of themselves and they want success. So if you're in for a league title and you're running towards the end, maybe the start of the GA Championship, I think you might have a better chance of keeping them than the other way around. And if you look at the way the GA has been structured over the last couple of years, it's kind of they run their league or their championship in August, September, October.
Yeah.
So you would have a majority of your season played at that stage. And I just think if it does come in, I suppose it's up to the Wexford League. It's up to all other leagues to make it viable. But I do see the negatives especially for the underage with Mammy and Daddy bringing little Johnny here, there, and everyone trying to fit that in and things like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know how it's going to work.
I think there's a very valid fear there about losing players and losing teams potentially. And obviously that would be an absolute disaster in my opinion, because at the end of the day we want as many people playing football as possible. But on the other side of it though, if you get away from that and you look at it, I do think it does give us great freedom to design a format for a league, or not necessarily a format, but like within the calendar of how it would work, and maybe potentially it could work. You know what I mean? So look, we'll have to just give it time, let it bed in, think about it. Do you know what I mean? There's definitely new options come available with it. Do you know what I mean? And flexibility in game times and stuff like that if it's in the summer. So look, it's a lot to process, I suppose, at the minute, but definitely needs a lot of thought and a lot of talking to clubs, and I suppose to see how it goes with underage. And I think ultimately, if we lose football players, for me that's a disaster. You know. But like on top of that, it could be. It could work. Let's see. You know, let's give it time and see what happens. I suppose. You know.
Yeah, look, there's pluses and minuses. Now, when it first came out, I was completely against it. I was there saying no, and I was probably being a little bit of a traditionalist. But when you sit back and you look and you see the growth, say in the girls' game and the ladies' game, that's grown so quick. You have so many underage playing football.
Yeah.
Like it's very, very hard to do your job of a Sunday morning to have. Even with the growth in our league with the referees, can we keep up? So with
I don't know, Nicky.
You know, like so. Then there's so many moving parts.
There's a lot of challenges that present themselves with referee. A lot of referees referee multiple sports.
Yeah.
If there's a big overlap, be strained with referees. You know what I mean? And we're lucky in Wexford. We have plenty of referees, and lots of very, very good ones. I don't know. It's hard to know. You know, it's there's no real way of knowing how it goes. It's going to go until it's there. You know, I just hope we don't lose football players from it. You know what I mean? Because ultimately that's what we want. And I do think like look, we had a meeting and a vote on it in our AGM last year, and it was 97% voted no. It didn't change, because we have a league that has been steadily increasing over the last few years, and I think it's going well to a certain point. So why would you look to fix something that isn't broken? You know, kind of idea behind it. Look, as I said, we'll just have to see how it goes. You know, I don't know exactly how it's going to pan out.
Look, there's a lot of thinking between now and then.
There's a lot of time before it comes in. You know, there are benefits to it. I mean, there's no doubt.
And there is going to be
like,
negatives.
You know, and there are negatives too. Like, I mean, look at like the last 2 youth weekends, for example. There was no games played because there was weather warnings. You know, and this weekend in December and a weekend in the end of November. But then on the flip side of that, like I know myself from playing, and I know from people, like they love playing through the winter as well. They love having a sport that they can, gets them out and about during the winter and meeting people and seeing people. Do you know what I mean? Because that's one of the big things about sport now. You know, and it's like it's a community meeting,
social
point,
active,
so, it brings people together, and in a time when there's nothing really else on as well. Do you know what I mean? That's one of the things. And like, look at I mentioned those 2 weekends, those Saturdays we lost games, but like if you look at all of our league tables, and we started in September, we've a lot of games played.
Yeah.
You know, most divisions teams are in double figures of games in September. You know, so plenty of football has been played. So look, we'll just have to watch this space and see what happens. You know, it's going to be something to keep an eye on anyway as we go forward. You know, and you just have to look at it with an open mind and have a think about what's best. You know,
see where it goes. I know there is a few leagues on the outside of Wexford that are saying that they're not going to do it. So look at if we get any information on it, we'll pass it on through this, or the league will pass it on to you as well.
Yeah, and
it'll be interesting.
It's going to be interesting because Waterford is a league close by us, and a lot of like Wexford teams and you yourself and me myself, we'd have contacts in Waterford. We'll see. They've just finished a half season, and they're committing to a calendar season sort of starting in February, I think it is. So like we'll get a lot of feedback from that alone, you know. So, and like they'd have similar, you know, it's right next door, so similar kind of a slightly smaller league size, but similar size, you know, similar amount of teams and stuff like that, and kind of the same kind of challenges that presented to us. So we'll see.
Definitely. I suppose we move on to the inter-county youths. You started off your competition a few weeks ago up in Wicklow, so you fill us in on how it's been going and where it's going. And
look, we had a really good start. We played Wicklow in Wicklow. It's a strong enough Wicklow team, to be fair. Like, I mean, and they had high hopes for themselves as well. They were a good side, but we do have a good team as well, Wexford. And look, we won the game well on the night. We won 5-0. You were there.
Yeah, did we played really well that night.
Played really well, defended really well, took our chances when they came. And like, I think especially with young lads and football, like, you know, that's a big part of it. You take your chance, the mindset changes massively, and we kind of saw that in our second game then as well. Wicklow went and played the DDSL then. So there's a 3-team group, and the top 2 play each other in a final. So Wicklow played the DDSL in the second round of games, and up in Stella Maris and lost 7-1. But actually 0-0 after 30 minutes, and Wicklow had plenty of chances. So we played DDSL last week, and we fell to a big defeat in the end. but it was a strange game. Like we obviously rotated a bit because we've a big panel and lots of good players, and we wanted to give everybody an opportunity in the 2 games. Do you know what I mean? To see. So everybody got game time across the 2 games in our squad. I think, and it was a funny one. If anybody that was there will tell you, like the first 30 minutes, I think DDSL were winning 1 or possibly 2-0 after 30 minutes, but it could have been 4-all. I mean, we missed. We created some great chances. I mean, right in the first minute, we created a great chance. Went out, and it just was one of those days for the lads. And like young lads, like I say, the mentality is big, and look, any football team. So then DDSL got a third one just before half time, and we had a talk with the lads. Like they felt like had to take their chances to be winning the game. Kind of they were kind of pumped up to go for the second half. DDSL scored in the first minute of it, and the game kind of petered out a little bit. But
all plans went out the window.
Yeah, and lads, not that their heads dropped, because they certainly weren't lacking for in terms of effort and trying and stuff. But like, I guess the task in front of you is nearly too big.
Yeah, momentum at that age group is massive, isn't it? When
huge.
A lad gets on top,
Yeah.
when a team gets on top.
Yeah, but look now. So we played that game in the knowledge that we'll be playing them in a neutral venue, probably Arklow, in early January in a final in a one-off game, and we learned a lot about them that night, and we learned a lot about ourselves over the 2 nights. So look, we'll come up with a game plan and we'll do what we can. But like, there's no getting away from the fact as well. Like DDSL is. Like, I mean, they won the competition without conceding a goal last year. Like, they're really back at it. It's a league that is really going from strength to strength, particularly the youths level. I think talking to their coach, Evan Ferguson's dad, like the majority of his team against us were former League of Ireland, but League of Ireland for a number of years, and have gotten to that stage. They finished under 17. They're not going to go straight into a 20s team because of the kind of selection pool in Dublin. So they're a very strong side, like
Yeah.
But like that's the challenge if you want to win the big competition. So. Look, we have a good team. We feel like we can do a lot better. We'll have a game plan. We'll see how we go.
Yeah, and in fairness, we were up in Arklow United's pitch. So if it's on either to them, the surface up there, and that night they just played Wicklow was unbelievable.
Yeah,
so
and Arklow Town is just as good. Like they're top notch pitches, not too far from either team. Ideal venue, really. So.
Yeah. Did you mention a date for the final?
It hasn't been nailed down yet, but it'll be kind of early to mid-January.
Perfect. Then we go on to Willie Pear's Oscar Trainers. They had a 3-2 win versus Kilkenny. It happened that long ago. I couldn't really forgetting, but
2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah.
3-2 win against Wicklow, against Kilkenny. Yeah. And Kilkenny got a man sent off, and I'd say that guy is cursing himself. I think a lot of people were at the game. Kilkenny go 1-up?
No, Wexford won up, back to 1-all.
1-all.
So yeah, and then it was sent off. Then at that for the
red
penalty at half time.
Card and the penalty in the one goal. Yeah, was the thing, and like the ball was going. It was obviously it was just a reaction. He didn't think about it, and then that was kind of. It was a tough hill for Kilkenny to climb, but look, they made a good fist of it in the second half. In fairness, but I thought Wexford were comfortable. I thought they could have gone up a few gears if they needed to. They control the game very well, and were lucky not to add more. Should have probably added more goals,
Yeah, they could have. In fairness, and in fairness, they were, without being, I suppose, playing out. Wexford probably played in third gear, didn't they, for long periods of the game that night.
Of the group.
Of the group. Yeah, so. Obviously, Willie will be definitely looking for him to go up through the gears.
But look, they've done enough in all their games.
Final.
Yeah, they've done enough in all their games, and they're 3 from 3. If you look at the rest of the results, like Kilkenny beat the Defence Force as well. Wexford beat Carlow. Then Carlow went and beat Kilkenny. Wexford beat the Defence Forces quite well. I know the Defence Force missing players and stuff that night. And Wexford beat Kilkenny, and Carlow and the Defence Forces drew. So, Wexford are the most consistent team, even though I think we all kind of feel there's more even in them.
Yeah.
Even though they have been performing well, they've gotten the job done, and what I think they will kick on. I think they're in a good spot. So fair play to them, and look at hopefully to go and win and retain the Leinster Cup for a starting point and push on and try and win an All Ireland, because I think the talent is in the team. To be fair. Yeah,
definitely talent in the team. And actually, what we didn't realise that night when we were leaving to head to Ferry Carrick Park that unfortunately poor old Lady Brothers had passed away in an accident. So I just want to wish the Brothers family just our sympathies. It's a couple of weeks ago, but Eddie was a great football man.
It just
Always had a smile on his face in North End.
yeah.
Can't say that about everybody whenever we came out of there, but
No,
Eddie was one of the ones who always had a
great.
smile.
Just a great man all round. Yeah, I would have coached one of his younger son, Caleb, in school, and I don't think there was a time because Caleb would have played a lot. He was a very good player, and Eddie was probably at 90% of the games.
Yeah.
And you look forward to seeing him because you'd always get a bit of crack and a bit of a joke and a good opinion on the game as well. He's great person.
Yeah,
loss.
definitely.
And condolences to North End and to the Brothers family.
Yeah.
That's a great one there.
Massive loss. I actually don't know how the man never killed John Godkin, to be honest with you, or gave him a slap, because no matter when I seen North End play, John always blamed Warren for everything, and Eddie
I
just
don't know.
always had a smile on his face, and just
I don't
so
know. Yeah.
even if Spock kicked the ball over the line, John always blamed Warren.
I don't know. You've more
So-
experience with that than me now.
So,
I
but,
didn't-
yeah, so look at
yeah.
look at sure, as we said, we wish him all the best in their future, and
Yeah.
our condolences
to him,
to the lads. It'll be a tough Christmas.
He's a big loss. Yeah.
So, we've touched on, I suppose, we've done the Oscar trainers now. The Premier over the last couple of weeks, there've been a few changes. You've got a good few games played. You've pushing North End to the pin in their collars, forced them to play Tuesday,
Yeah, but look
Wednesday,
at, I
or
suppose,
Saturday,
The
Sunday.
North End are aware of their situation, having kind of qualified for the group stage, the Leinster Senior Cup. They played a midweek game last week. Not this week. They're playing Sunday and they're playing the following Wednesday. So they're getting lots of games in now. And in fairness, like to North End, they're eager to play games. They're not complaining anyway.
No.
And they're doing well in the outside competitions. So I suppose if we can get this is something we'll have to look at if we ever do go to calendar football anyway, because we're finishing up a season in October, November, like we don't have many facilities with lights and things like that. It's a challenge that will present. Like, you won't have what we kind of have always had here of the evening kind of games in April and May to kind of, get the leagues back
Ticking
on
it
kind of
up.
even terms. Because you don't want to have teams sitting waiting for a long time without a game. Like that's not ideal, and you want to try and keep it as even as you can all the time, or certainly I do anyway, and you try. And North End, they've been playing their games, but in January into February, they'll have 3 Leinster Senior Cup games, I think. A group of Bows, UCD and Wexford FC. And to the best of my knowledge now, I think all the games are at weekends. I was hoping to be in midweek games.
Yeah, I think they're Friday night, aren't they? So it's kind of a bit of a disaster for you.
UCD is a Saturday.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think Wexford FC is a Friday. The Bows one I'm not 100% sure on, but they've got that. Obviously, they'll have a back fixture in the FAI Junior Cup, because obviously they didn't play that weekend because of what happened with Eddie. And they're still in the Leinster Junior Cup as well. So look, there's them, and look at it's well documented. It's happened Gorey in the last couple of years as well. It's happened North End before. It's happened New Ross Celtic in times past. It's just look at least we now have, like, in an AstroTurf in CBS there, and one opening soon in Enniscorthy, and look, the more of these kind of facilities we can get into the league, the better. You can kind of keep it kind of even. Like they've played midweek and they've kept going. So like I think by the time Christmas comes, they'll have played 8 league games.
Yeah.
And I think the year they won the FAI Junior Cup, they had 4. Maybe,
Yeah. I look at, and they're, let's be honest about it, they're on their way to maybe retaining the Premier League. They've played 6, won 6, scored 19, conceded 2.
Yeah.
I actually haven't seen much of them this year, but I did see him play against Shamrock Rovers on Sunday.
Yeah.
And Shamrock Rovers probably had 3 or 4 chances there. Dapo had a couple of chances coming in at the angle, and I wouldn't say they were good chances. There were chances that you needed to maybe to score against North End. Eddie was very unlucky.
Whenever you're playing a big team, you just have to take your chances.
Oh yeah, definitely. Eddie was unlucky with a volley. Maybe it clipped the crossbar. If it was another foot out, never mind the yard, that would have crept into the top corner. But once North End scored, you could see him taking control of the game at that stage then, and it was quite early in the second half. And I couldn't really see.
Yeah.
I thought at that stage then myself that the best Rovers could have hoped for was a draw.
Yeah. And look, at Rovers have obviously got some big results this year, so definitely an interesting game. It sounded like it was a very good game,
Yeah, it was a decent game, in fairness.
Yeah, and I suppose North End are in a good position, but so are Fort Celtic, who they play this weekend. They're both with a 100% record in the league. So, I mean, if Fort Celtic are going to break into that kind of becoming a title challenger. This weekend is probably a big game for him, isn't it?
Massive
there's
game.
there's a long way. I think North End still have to play Gorey twice.
Mm-hmm.
They have to play Bowes again, which is always a local derby. They have to play Fort Celtic twice, including this Sunday.
They'll have to come to Enniscorthy twice. They'll have to play the Mine and Shamrock Rovers.
They're in a good position, but there's a lot of good teams in the Premier Division, so there's certainly going to be tests all along the way. So this weekend is
this weekend's a big weekend for Fort Celtic. They were 5 out of 5. They were going well in outside competitions. They got the GA lads back. They were beaten 2-1 by Ratoath this weekend.
Yeah.
Now Ratoath seemingly are quite decent. So
by all accounts, a very good team. Beat Freebooters 5-1.
Yeah.
Freebooters in the last round.
So look, it's a big game for Fort Celtic and Chris to try and put a dent in North End.
Yeah, and look, they've been in and around it. They won a cup last year, so now's the time for them to have a go. So look, I'm sure there's a good game in store there this weekend. So, like you say, it's a big game for both teams, but probably especially Fort Celtic. It's their home fixture as well. So
yeah,
to have a chance of going and win the league, and there's lots of good players there as well. They'll probably need to get a result to shake it up.
Yeah, definitely. Gorey this weekend, they're a tough game at home to Crossabeg. I know Joe New always liked going toe to toe against Gorey, so that'll be.
Joe and Crossabeg seem to have a good I
always give Gorey a really tough game.
A lot of close games against Gorey the last 2 seasons, so it is an interesting one. Obviously, just some changes in Gorey lately as well. Off the field, so it's going to be an interesting game as well. Yeah, but look, you get that every week in most of our divisions, to be honest. But that's going to be a game that'll present different challenges to Gorey. But it's one, I suppose, after losing a few points, that they'll probably be. We have to win this one.
Yeah, well, look, they're going to have to win nearly every game now.
Yeah.
Because I think if they do drop points outside of the top 2, then it's really, really going to be out of their hands. I actually seen Gorey play the day they played Shamrock Rovers, and in fairness to Rovers, I thought they were full value for the win that day. They were better than Gorey all over the park. I really expected them to come out the week after against Bowes, and they ended up dropping points on that day too, up in Ramstown, so it's a really tough division that you could have one bad week and you could be near enough.
Yeah.
That could come back and bite you in the backside, coming the latter end.
And in the Premier Division, all the teams have really high quality players, and
they can hurt you.
They can, yeah, if you're not on it, and even if you are on it, that's football and that's the joys of it, isn't it? So it was a tough couple of weeks for Gorey, of course, but look, they've won their last 2, and I'm sure they're hoping to kind of keep that run going. But it's another big one, yeah. Like you say, there's probably no real room for mistakes left there if they want to kind of challenge for the Premier, I suppose. So it'll be an interesting game, yeah, for sure. And look at Rovers. The thing about them is, just having coached a few of them and stuff, there's a kind of an interesting mix in Rovers of kind of youth and experience, I think, and some really, really promising young players there as well. So they're kind of a team who could get any kind of result on any weekend, couldn't they?
Yeah, I know, definitely. Yeah, look, they're. I think they were really looking forward going down to play North End Sunday, and at half time they were really in the game. But as I say, you have the experience with North End. Craig McCabe was back in. He started the game left back. He ended up popping in centre half. Craig is Rolls Royce. No matter where he plays,
League of Ireland player.
But and Paul Murphy,
FAI junior winner, and
the whole thing. So county senior footballer, everything. So he's a top lad. You have Reese. So if Craig is by any stretch of imagination slowing down a bit, Reese has pace, power, strength. Yeah. He scored a goal from the corner. So, and you had just look at the drop spot back into midfield, and for the first hour, until North End scored, you were probably thinking that's the right place for Spot to play, because he wasn't really hurting the Rovers a whole lot. But once they got the goal up, he controlled the game then and there, so that it helped him to see out the game and things like that. And They have savage speed on both sides. With Robbie Kane, is it Robbie Kane?
Robbie,
Yeah, Robbie. Can never think of his first name. And Todd on the other side. So the two boys were quick as lightning, and Niall came on and he scored the winner. Or he scored the second goal.
Yeah.
So they've great pace, and North End have a nice little mix. The same as the Rovers lads. Rovers lads are probably just a little. Their younger lads are a couple of years behind where North End is, but look, they will catch up.
Yeah.
So they will. You've Crossabeg, Bunclody, all.
Ross Celtic.
No, yeah, well, I'm just saying in around the mid-table, and Ferns and that over the last couple of weeks, they're all in around that mid-table. So, last week,
all to play for at all ends of the table. There's just plenty of games on the board, but there's a lot still to be played. So, look at it's got a certain shape to it now, but I'm sure it'll change over the course of the season. There's teams getting points off each other there, all ends of the table. So,
Yeah, definitely. It was a massive result for Ross Celtic away to All Blacks last week. It just really kind of puts a foot on All Blacks down at the bottom of that table. So, and what we've seen of Bows so far this year, they look a little bit harder to beat. I know they've only played 5 league games, but
I think people
good result.
Thought they would struggle more than they are. Like, there's some good players there, obviously. Like, there's good players in all the teams, but they've gotten, like, I think they lost 2. They lost one to North End in a close game. They lost, I can't remember the other one they lost. They've 2 draws, one up in Gorey. Obviously, it was a very good result for them, and they had a good win then as well against Bunclody away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, Bows seem to be, and they're going well in Leinster. I mean, they're in the last 32 now, is it? Or last 16 at Leinster Cup as well, Leinster Junior. Have we 3 teams left?
Yeah, with North End and Shamrock Rovers, they drew each other.
North End Rovers, did they?
Yeah, we actually. I didn't see the draw, but I was told this evening that they had drawn each other.
I might have it in an email. So in a second, but yeah, look at Bows are going well in the outside competitions, and they seem to have picked up like some good points in the league so far, especially away from home. So, they're going to Shamrock Rovers this weekend. It'll be a really interesting game as well, because as you said, it'll show a lot about where they are, because of the outside cups, because they're in the Leinster Senior Cup as well, are a little bit behind on
yes
on fixtures, so they've got a little bit of catching up to do there as well. And it's not looking great for All Blacks at the minute, but look, they're
still good. They're still keeping themselves in games. I don't think anybody's going to go down and run away with them or anything like that. So like, who knows? Maybe a bit of a Christmas break, and they might get a shot of lads back in and around and get going again. So, Des Moines beaten 2-0 by North End last Tuesday night. They started the season quite well. The last couple of weeks they've been struggling a bit. So, they'll be who've they this weekend?
They're not on this weekend.
Oh no, they're not. They'll be happy enough then to wait until the Christmas break comes and get back in around it.
Yeah, get back in around it. But look, they're on 8 games played there, so they're tipping on well there in terms of games played. But I suppose they'll probably want to see an improvement in results.
So yeah, definitely. I suppose we're not going to go too far down through the leagues, but we'll definitely have to touch on Division 1, especially the last couple of weeks there. There's been a couple of really big games in it, and we sat down the other night and we came up with a conclusion to what's going to happen with this.
So there will be 2 teams relegated from the Premier Division. I suppose that's the rule that's there written in stone. If one of the B teams or 2 of the second teams that are at the top, close to the top of the division, finish in the top 3, 4th place or 5th place won't get you a playoff against the 3rd from bottom team. So if you're in the top, so basically 2 are getting relegated and 2 are going up. Yeah, okay. Two are going down, 2 are going up, and in terms of the playoff will only occur if there's not a B team in the top 3. So it gives teams clarity now to know what the story is. Even if there's a B team comes first and a B team comes second in North End and Gorey, then 3rd and 4th go up, and that's it.
Yeah,
and that's just how it is. And now that's the information that they all have.
Yeah, and sure, like if you look at the league table now at the minute,
there's not much between them all there.
Very, very little. But if the season was to finish tomorrow, at the minute you would have Courtown and St. Joseph's going up automatically, and 2 coming down from the Premier. So that's clear,
That's it.
decisive,
Yeah.
and that's the way we're going to go.
And that's it. And then clubs know what they can go for. Do you know what I mean? So and in both divisions. So that's how it is. So look, it's a very tight division. I know in Arden and Gorey were the top 2 heading into the weekend. And Courtown Courtown went into first place anyway with a good win away to Shelburne, which is always a difficult place to go.
Extremely.
Yeah, and I know Gorey beat North End 1-0. Very close game by all accounts, and look, that division is just, it's kind of like the championship in England. People often say it's the most difficult to predict every season. Anything could happen. There's so little between the teams. Really, always a really exciting division to follow. You had Courtown kind of creeping up there, really. Like, I mean, the focus was on Cork Ramblers a few weeks ago because they beat Gorey,
beat North End,
they beat did they beat Joseph's or someone as well? I think they beat Barntown in the middle of that as well, and they beat Campoyle. No, it wasn't Joseph's. That was earlier on the season. But they kind of went and they beat Gorey and North End, who were the top 2 at the time, and then they played Courtown. Courtown had been winning away as well, but obviously not beating the teams at the very top. But Courtown are certainly on a very strong run. I'm looking at them there. I think it's 5 wins straight. I think they've only lost once. That was the first day of the season. It was 1-0 to North End. And look, they're after going into top spot. We actually played them in the County Youths a couple of weeks ago, and they're a good team, very good team. So, but look, all the teams in Division 1 are good teams.
Yeah, no, definitely. And look, they just kind of were going about their business quietly. As you said, Cora were going along beating the top teams.
Yeah.
And then Courtown and Cora played each other 2 weeks ago, and
it was a penalty.
Penalty last minute, and Courtown sit themselves on top.
Yeah.
And Cork Ramblers are in 5th, so that just shows how tight it all is.
With a game in hand, I suppose.
Oh yeah.
They would be 3 points behind Courtown to play each other again. So, look, I'm sure all those teams that we've mentioned there will be kind of in battles, but like Division 1 is always the most interesting because a team at the bottom can beat a team at the top. It happens more so than most divisions, and there's if you look at the bottom of the division, you've got Barntown and Ratnewer, who probably have the 2 best goal scorers in the league, really. Or maybe 3.
Yeah,
2 Ratnewer lads.
2 Ratnewer lads and
Sean Cooney,
Cassidy of Kilmore. So
so like there's goals in him, and Jamie Myler as well with Campoyle, who are lower down, and there's all kinds of ways that division can go over the next few months. So it's always a good one to follow. So it's hard to keep form in that division, I think. Like it's hard to stay on top because teams are just fighting for their lives at both ends of the table. And if you look, obviously Ratnewer have a bit of catching up to do, but there's very little in the kind of relegation spaces, and then very little in the top 5.
Yeah, well, you look at I suppose there's 5 points between 7th and Campoyle down as far as Glenbarntown. So there's nothing in that.
With a game in hand for Barntown as well. So
so
you'll all be thinking, you're an optimistic kind of manager. You're always looking at your game in hand is 3 points.
Well, you'll be hoping.
Might not be the reality, but like that's how it goes, isn't it?
And
so look, they all have plenty to play for,
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't write off St. Joseph's either in that.
No.
Sticking in and around that, around that 3rd or 4th position. I don't think they'll last the season to go and win it out, but they definitely have something to play for to stick in and around that 2nd or 3rd position.
It's a big club too, and look, they all want to be in the Premier Division. They're all big clubs, historically in Wexford, and Joseph's are a young team. They play nice football, and they're probably learning a lot every time they play in Division 1 because they've just come into it,
Yeah, definitely. Well, they're young except for Gary Byrne. Gary, he has the pub out in Owlert there, so he was in with me the other day. He asked me to see could he get the goal off of Kilmore, and in fairness, it was a screamer. Kilmore have the VO cameras down there, so it was a great goal. Fair play to you, Gary, rolling back the years. To get a good goal. In fairness to him. So, there's a full. Next week will be myself and Aidan. Aidan is back next week, and we'll be touching down through all the divisions, and we'll have a little chat further detail in it. There won't be as many games being played this weekend, so
no, but like you can have a good review. There's some mad divisions there. Like I think Division 2, Division 3, and any of the top 6 are probably realistically thinking they can win Division 3.
Yeah.
From Oilgate up to New Ross, they're all in with it. A good shout. Division 2 is similar, isn't it? Enniscorthy United and Tombrack and Ballymore and Fastnet and probably Rosslare Rangers, although they probably can't afford any more slip-ups.
Yeah.
And look, we've got some great divisions.
Definitely.
So
actually,
lots to
before
talk about there.
we go any the Division 5,
Division 5.
when are you going to put the split in that, or have you thought more
no,
on
I
it?
have, and so as we clarify that there as well, so Division 5 with 14 teams, and everybody's going to get to play 13 games, and then we'll have our cut-off point. So now there's a couple of teams a little bit behind and stuff like that. So over the next few weeks, we probably might have to stagger. I think Shamrock Rovers are on 12.
13.
No,
Oh, 12. Sorry, 12, yeah.
And but then I think everybody else is on 11 or 10, and 1 or 2 are on 8 or 9. So we'll have to just kind of catch them up when there's cup fixtures on and stuff as well. So we'll make that happen. And once we get to a point where everybody's played 13, we'll split that league into 2. And the top half will continue on, and the bottom half will play out for Division 5A title. So look, it is something we said we'd try this year. We'd review it at the end of the year. But that's how it is. Yeah, everybody plays each other once, and then once it splits, so say Shamrock Rovers are currently high up in it, aren't they?
Yeah, Tombrack, Shamrock Rovers, Cork Ramblers, Castle Dockrell, Adamstown, Gorey.
Yeah. So say it finishes as it is, or something similar like that. So Tombrack and Shamrock Rovers. Now I don't know who played who at home off the top of my head, but so Shamrock Rovers, everybody will have played each other once. So Shamrock Rovers will have played Tombrack at home, let's say, for example. Then when we continue on and it's split into 2,
reverse fixture.
It's the reverse fixture. You played a reverse fixture against whoever's left in your league.
So
we finish it out. Yeah. So look, we'll see how it goes.
You're hoping kind of end of January, start February, somewhere around that to do the split. With a bit of luck.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, exactly. One of them. Yeah. So that's the idea anyway. So it should happen. Yeah.
I think it's great, to be honest with you, to give players down the divisions. Absolutely. And if it's something that was to happen, I could work that you could maybe add in districts or stuff like that, like that in the bottom couple of divisions, because it keeps. I think it should keep lads interested anyway. So
look, that's the hope. That's why we decided to go for it. Sure. Look at Division 5 football is competitive. It's probably more recreational than in the top, but it's still competitive, and everybody likes to win. Everybody isn't going to win, but we'll split it into 2, and it'll keep the people the teams who are in the Division 5A, give them something to play for. Because it's a long season. If you're stuck in mid-table now and you're like, we've got 15 games left or 10 games left, and sure, we've nothing to play for. Like, lads might drift away, so this gives them something to kind of keep them interested in and going for, and let's see how it goes, and we'll review it then at the end of the season. So that's the plan with that.
And I'll have to give you a small bit of credit. I don't often give you credit. I'd rather run you down than give you a bit of credit. But in fairness to you and to the lads on the league for backing you to do it, at least there's you're thinking outside of the box and seeing what can we do and trying stuff, which is
whatever gets people out on playing games and look forward to playing games. That's what we're trying to do, isn't it? So that's the idea. So look, as we said, we'll see how it goes, and hopefully it works out well.
Yeah. I suppose we're getting towards the end of this evening. Full list of Premier fixtures, few back fixtures coming up.
Yeah. Trying to even up the leagues a little bit. Small few games in Division 5 even. And I think our teams have already hit 10 games, they're not on. And then where there's divisions like the Premier, nobody's hit 10 games, but some are on 8 and 9, a bit ahead of the lads on 5. So just trying to even them up, and you don't want to have teams going too far ahead. So back fixtures kind of all round really this week, but just there's more of them in the Premier, because obviously a lot of the teams have had longer runs. Like New Ross Celtic had a great run in the FAI Junior this year. They only went out to Ringman Rangers there, wasn't it? 2 weeks ago?
Ringman, down in Cork.
Yeah. And that's Queven Kelleher's old club, isn't it? It's a big club down in Cork, so it's good game to be involved in for Ross. But so this week it's a smaller set of fixtures because we are doing very well in the leagues.
There'll be a few
and you
lads
can't play
happy
it.
with Christmas parties that won't
look,
have to tag out.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's that kind of time of the year, isn't it? And it's nice to give people a break, and they'll come back to it then. Fourth January is the Saturday for youths, but 5th of January then the Sunday that we'll all be back. Obviously you're going to go through. We're going to do the cup draws next week.
Yeah, that's this time of the year as a manager. You always like to be knowing what you're going to be doing kind of coming January.
Yeah.
So so you can maybe get players in. Like I remember there when we were managing for a few years, it would have been an Oscar trainer game in January. So you kind of always knew that you had a week or so off, because they were weekends. So you'd be kind of penciling in bits and pieces to do them weeks and things like that, or whether you train over the Christmas period. So what are you looking like fixture wise from the 5th of January or 4th of January on?
Yeah, well, look, obviously next week we're going to do all of our cup draws, and we always like to return the first weekend back with cup fixtures because with big cups to run as well. So the 4th will be the Youth Cup, the 5th will be the Wexford Cup. Obviously, a lot of teams will get a bye in the Wexford Cup because of the numbers in the first round, and all of the Premier Division receive a bye. So we'll have a full round of Premier Division fixtures as well.
Yep.
There'll be some big ones in that, I'd say, because I've actually made a really conscious effort this year to try as much as I could to have everybody play each other once before they start playing each other.
Yep.
Having teams finished with each other, try to keep it so that's hopefully.
So you're saying Norton and Gorey could be starting back?
Well, if people one of them, wouldn't it? Or
could well be.
Beg or Gorey have to play forward as well. But
Yeah,
there'll be some big games coming, they just will. And so we'll see how it goes. And I'll just go with what's on the FAI Connect system.
Yeah. Which one falls first?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we'll go with that, and we'll have cup fixtures, and then the second week back for the lower divisions, we'll have all of our divisional cups. We'll start the second week back, and that's the first 2 weeks back. We'll get a lot of the cup fixtures on. Plenty of league fixtures as well. To be fair, because there's always a lot of buys, especially in the first round of the Wexford Cup. I think it was 33 got a buy or something last year. Do you know what I mean? So lots of league fixtures.
So you know yourself, if you have a buy, there's a good chance that you're going to be in the league game.
If you buy, you're
so
fairly nailed on to be in a league game realistically, unless you're and look at, I think the way it's kind of fallen this year is probably a longer break than we'd normally have. It's probably an extra week in it, so I'd say teams will be eager to come back, and hopefully weather's good and everyone can go out and play ball and run off a bit of turkey or whatever Christmas season,
So yeah. Yes, I could do running off a bit of turkey myself.
Yeah. Well, I was playing in the lower divisions with Raheen, and it was always kind of I don't know one thing. The fitness levels probably weren't as high as what they are in the higher divisions,
A tough couple of weeks. Yeah. So look at overall, you're happy with the way the fixtures have gone. You're, as you said, we're penciling in the cups and to get going, and
the leagues are in good shape, and it's just good that they're all really competitive. They always are. But we're in good shape. We're getting through it really well. Obviously the last, as I said, mentioned earlier, the last 2 youths weekends have been a washout with orange weather warnings. But what can you do? The youths leagues are kind of designed anyway in a way there that, in the Premier Division you've kind of we've kind of felt we're the strongest teams, right? And then there's Division 5, which is the B teams, and they kind of play in the afternoon, and they're mainly also in the Premier Division, they're first teams, but not all of them.
Yeah.
Though the B team division is tipping on fairly okay, but then the other divisions are all kind of there's a Division 1, and it's kind of Kilmore, All Blacks, Rosslare, Strand, Rosslare, Rangers.
Kind of.
So if they do need to catch up, it's relatively close distances. Do you know what I mean? So, it shouldn't be a problem. So we look on course to finish the season fairly well anyway.
Perfect.
So happy enough. Yeah, absolutely.
You've nothing strange or exciting to come up with them before we head off tonight?
No, obviously we've two Leinster finals for the inter-county teams coming up in January. Carlow play Kilkenny in a semi-final on the 8th of January in the senior. The winner plays Wexford the week after, probably in the losing county from the semi-final.
Yeah.
It'll be neutral, or Wicklow, Arklow. And the inter-county youths will be playing the DDSL in early January as well in a Leinster final. So we'll see how we go. We wish the teams the best of luck, and it's about all we can do. And other than that, tune in next week. We've got cup draws coming up, and get a good shape on the rest of the season then,
So, right, thanks very much for coming in
No bother.
tonight, Padraig, and it's good to be back.
Yeah.
Maybe we might not get Aidan back next week. What do you think?
He'll be alright.
So we see how it
Cheer him
goes.
up.
Yes, that's it. So
It's Christmas and all.
right, thanks very much, folks.
No worries.
See you again. Thanks, Padraig.
Thanks.